Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to start with our systemic histology. I hope आप सबने इसके पहले वाला जनरल हिस्टोलॉजी स्लाइड आइडेंटिफिकेशन का वीडियो देख लिया होगा. अगर वो देख लिया होगा तो आपको सिस्टमिक हिस्टोलॉजी में बहुत ज़्यादा आसानी होने वाली है. So let's start our journey with systemic histology. Today we are going to cover digestive system and bone वाला पार्ट, क्योंकि bone मैंने जनरल हिस्टोलॉजी के वीडियो में नहीं कराया था. So let's get started with the histology of bone first. So what are the cells of bone? These are osteoprogenitor cells, osteoblast, osteocyte and osteoclast. So osteoprogenitor cells are the stem cells of mesenchymal origin that are the most primitive cells of bone, and osteoblasts are lining the surface of the bone, that is also known as the bone forming cells. Osteocyte are cells of mature bone, and osteoclast is the bone removing cell that eats up the bone or bone macrophage. So these are the cells of bone. It is generally asked in the histology viva कि bone में क्या क्या cell होते हैं. So these are the 4 types of cells in bone. Now the classification of bone based on the gross appearance. There is a whole classification of bone, but I am only taking into consideration the gross appearance because we are going to study about histology of the compact and spongy bone. So the classification of bone based on the gross appearance is compact bone and spongy bone. So compact bone में भी 2 टाइप का स्लाइड होता है, एक उसका ट्रांसवर्स सेक्शन एंड एक उसका लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल सेक्शन. सो कॉम्पैक्ट बोन ट्रांसवर्स सेक्शन में हम क्या क्या फीचर देखेंगे. देयर आर प्रेजेंस ऑफ हावर्सियन सिस्टम दैट इज मेड अप ऑफ concentric lamella. Osteocytes are present in lacuna, and 3 types of lamella are seen in a transverse section, that is the circumferential, concentric and interstitial lamella. And haversian canal containing blood vessels and nerve are seen on the transverse section. Now, what are the features of compact bone in longitudinal section? The only difference is the Walkman's canal that are present in the longitudinal section that are interconnecting 2 haversian systems, and lacuna with osteocyte are present in both. So you can see here this is the transverse section of the compact bone, and you can see these are the interstitial lamella, and the concentric lamella are formed, and in the center there is the haversian canal. And in the longitudinal section, these are the haversian system, but that interconnecting the 2 haversian system, these are the Walkman's canal. These are the haversian system, and these are the Walkman's canal. Okay. Now these are the 2 pictures that you need to draw in your exam in the or in your manual. These are the pictures from your diffuse atlas. In last video I did not give any pictures from diffuse atlas, but from systemic histology point of view, these are the exam oriented slides, so you need to draw the diagram in your manual as well as in your exam. So these are the classic diagrams that you should draw for fetching good marks. So this is the diagram that you need to draw for transverse section, and this is the diagram you need to draw for longitudinal section. And these diagrams are labeled as well, so you do not have to find the labelings. Okay, so this is all about the bone. Spongy bone I am not telling you here because it is not an exam oriented slide, I guess. The compact bone is asked mostly in the exams, so we are only dealing with the important topics here. And one thing that I want to tell you is a general anatomy correlation is the type of ossification. Please study the type of ossification and their examples. It is asked in the vivas most often. Okay, now let's go to the digestive system. I have taken the biggest system in the first video itself, but I will try to complete it in as minimum time as possible. So let's get into digestive system. So I did not cover the gland part in the general histology video. So here I did the basic introduction of the gland part. So classification on the basis of secretory products. There are 3 types of glands, that is serous, mucous and mixed type of gland. So what is the difference between serous acinous and mucous acinous? This table is from IB Singh book, so you can also see it from there. Serous acinous is mainly the cells are triangular with rounded nuclei. This is the most identifiable feature. And the mucous acinous has tall cells with flat nucleus, and the nucleus is present at the periphery or at the boundary. And the serous acinous contains zymogen granules, but the mucous acinous contain mucoid material, so it does not stain that good, but the zymogen granules are basophilic, so it stains better and it looks deep under the microscope. So it is written here, it is darkly stained, and the mucous acinous is lightly stained. The examples of serous acinosis, parotid gland, and the example of mucous acinosis, sublingual gland. And if you ask what is the example of mixed gland, then it is submandibular gland. Okay, the example of mixed gland is submandibular gland. You can see here the schematic diagrams of the serous acinus and mucous acinus. Serous acinus, their cells are triangular and the nucleus is rounder. And in mucous acinus, the nucleus is flat and present at the periphery. But in serous acinus, the nucleus present at the center. Okay, so these are the slide pictures. It is clearly you can see that these are the rounded nucleus. You cannot identify the cell structure because it is not that good of a slide. So you can only identify the nucleus part. So the nucleus are round, you can clearly see, and the slide is darkly stained here. So this is serous acinus, or you can say it is the slide of parotid gland. And in the second, this is the slide of mucous acinus. And you can see these are the cell nucleus that are peripherally placed. These are the cells that are nucleus are peripherally placed and flat nucleus. Remember, these are not the glands. These are the intercalated ducts that are the exocrine gland have the ducts. But these are the glands that have the nucleus at the periphery. Okay, now let's come to the mixed gland. So it is mixed acinus. And you can see these are serous acini that are present. These are serous acinus, but these are the mucous acinus. So if mucous and serous acinus both are present in one slide, then it is a mixed acinus gland, and the example of it is submandibular gland. एक बात मैं तुमको बताऊं, मेरे सेकेंड इंटरनल एंड थर्ड इंटरनल फर्स्ट ईयर में दोनों में मिक्स्ड एसिनस आया था शायद, मैं भूल गई हूँ अभी, पर जितनी बार भी ग्लैंड का पिक्चर आया है, स्लाइड आया है, हर बार मैंने गलत ही किया था उसको. सो इसको देख लेना थोड़ा सा, क्योंकि वहाँ पे मैं कभी पढ़ के नहीं जाती थी ग्लैंड वाला पार्ट, इसीलिए गलत हो जाता था. ओके, so serous acinus, mucous acinus and mixed acinus is complete. This is the basic that should be done in the general histology part. Now come to the parotid gland slide. So what are the identification features of parotid gland? It is predominantly serous acinus in nature, we already discussed it, and it contains basophilic zymogen granules, so it's stained darkly, and intercalated and interlobular are also seen. Adipocytes may be present. These are the identification feature. if ये slide आया तो तुमको ये identification feature लिखना है. Now this is the picture from diffuse atlas, तुमको ये draw करना है एग्जाम में अगर आया तो. ओके, एंड स्लाइड तो मैंने तुम्हें पहले ही दिखा दिया. दीज आर द इंटरकैलेटेड डक्ट्स प्रेजेंट एंड दीज आर द सेल्स और ग्लैंड्स. ओके, now let's come to the submandibular gland. Submandibular gland is a mixed salivary gland. As you know, it is a mixed salivary gland. Both mucous and serous part is present. It is predominantly serous with few mucous acinus present. Serous cells are frequently located at the periphery of mucous acinus as a crescent. ये चीज यहाँ पे तुम देख सकते हो अच्छे से. As this is a gland, but this part is only the mucous acinus and this part is serous acinus. Okay, so it forms a crescent over the mucous acinus, so it is known as the serous demilune. Okay, इतना याद रखने का जरूरत नहीं है, बस डायग्राम करते करते लेबलिंग करोगे एक बार तो वो याद रह जाएगा अपने आप. सो पैरोटिड ग्लैंड एंड सबमैंडिबुलर ग्लैंड इज कंप्लीट. म्यूकस एसिनस का एग्जांपल हमने बताया था सबलिंगुअल ग्लैंड. सो म्यूकस एसिनस का एज सच कोई आइडेंटिफिकेशन फीचर नहीं है. वही जो भी सबलिंगुअल ग्लैंड अगर आया तुम्हारे स्लाइड में तो म्यूकस एसिनस वाले पॉइंट्स ही लिखने हैं उसमें. सो ये रहा उसका डायग्राम, और ये तुम म्यूकस एसिनस देख सकते हो क्लियरली कितना सुंदर डायग्राम बनाया हुआ है. सो म्यूकस एसिनस आया तो ये वाला डायग्राम करना है तुमको. ओके, सो हमारा सैलिवरी ग्लैंड वाला पार्ट डन हो चुका है. और अगर एनाटॉमी में आया पैरोटिड ग्लैंड लॉन्ग क्वेश्चन, तो उसमें भी अगर माइक्रोस्कोपी ऑफ पैरोटिड ग्लैंड आता है तो तुम्हें ये लिखना पड़ेगा उसका आइडेंटिफिकेशन फीचर एंड ये उसका डायग्राम भी बनाना पड़ेगा साथ में हिस्टोलॉजी वाला. ओके, नाउ लेट्स कम टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, दैट इज द टंग. मैं पहले ही बता देती हूँ, टंग एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट लॉन्ग क्वेश्चन है सिस्टमिक एनाटॉमी में, एंड उसके साथ टंग की हिस्टोलॉजी में पूछी जाती है. और दूसरी चीज जो पूछी जाती है वो है टंग की एम्ब्रियोलॉजी, डेवलपमेंट कैसे हुआ था. सो ये दोनों चीज लॉन्ग क्वेश्चन में बिट क्वेश्चन बन के आ सकते हैं. ओके, सो व्हाट आर द आइडेंटिफिकेशन फीचर्स ऑफ टंग? द म्यूकस मेम्ब्रेन ऑफ टंग इज लाइंड बाय स्ट्रैटिफाइड स्क्वामस नॉन केराटिनाइज्ड एपिथेलियम. जनरल हिस्टोलॉजी में मैंने बताया था स्ट्रैटिफाइड स्क्वामस नॉन केराटिनाइज्ड का एग्जांपल में. ओके, द डोर्सम ऑफ द टंग शोज न्यूमरस प्रोजेक्शन ऑफ पैपिला. ऊपर में पैपिला होता है बट वेंट्रल सरफेस इज स्मूथ. And this is formed by skeletal muscles, and the muscle fiber run in various directions. So some are cut longitudinally and some transversely. Serous and mucous glands are seen. Okay, these are the identification feature. This is the real slide picture, and you can see this is the epithelium part, that is the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, and these are the papillae that are projecting outward. You can see these are the fungiform and filiform papillae. And you can see beautifully these are the muscle fibers that are cut in various directions. These are the muscle fibers, and these are some serous and mucous glands that is not seen very clearly because it is not a very good picture. So these are the glands, and these are the muscles that are cut in a various directions. So tongue is the a very easy slide to identify because इसका शेप भी ऐसा ट्रायंगुलर ही होता है स्लाइड में, तो तुम देख के पहचान लोगे कि ये टंग का स्लाइड ही है, क्योंकि जैसा तुम डायग्राम कॉपी में बनाते हो वैसा ही डायग्राम होता है स्लाइड में भी, इसलिए इसको पहचानना मुश्किल नहीं है. एंड इट कैन बी ए स्पॉटर ऑल्सो. हमारे एग्जाम में भी 2-3 बार आया है टंग का स्पॉटिंग. सो दिस इज द डायग्राम फ्रॉम द डिफ्यूअर्स एटलस, एंड जैसे कि मैंने बताया दीज आर द fungiform and filiform papillae on the dorsum of the trunk, and the ventral surface is smooth. Okay, and these are the various fibers, muscle fibers that are cut in various directions, and this is the diagram that you have to draw in your exam. So this much for tongue, and long question में आ सकता है ये, इसलिए long question के साथ भी पढ़ के जाना इसको. Okay, so next we will go to esophagus. Esophagus यहाँ से शुरू होता है गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टिनल ट्रैक्ट के 4 layers, that is the mucosa, सबम्यूकोसा, मस्कुलरिस लेयर एंड एडवेंटिशिया. एडवेंटिशिया ओनली इसोफेगस में होता है. उसके बाद से तुम जहाँ पे जीआईटी के 4 लेयर लिखोगे, म्यूकोसा, सबम्यूकोसा, मस्कुलरिस एक्सटर्ना, मस्कुलरिस इंटरना, एंड एडवेंटिशिया के बदले आ जाएगा सिरोसा. ओके, द लाइनिंग एपिथेलियम ऑफ इसोफेगस इज also stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, same as the tongue, and the submucosa is studded with mucus secreting esophageal glands. This is the most identifiable feature in esophagus because esophagus spotting में भी दे देते हैं. So ऐसे ही सबम्यूकोसा में ग्लैंड्स वाला पार्ट फोकस करके दे देंगे और उसमें से तुम्हें पहचानना है कि एसोफेगस है. Okay, let's come to the microscopy picture first. So this is the microscopy, and you can see this is the epithelium, that is stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, and उसके नीचे ये रहा lamina propria, और and these are the glands. These are the glands in the submucosa. और कहाँ glands होते हैं submucosa में, तो वो है duodenum. बट द duodenum एंड esophagus में फर्क क्या है? duodenum में विलाई होंगे बट esophagus में कोई विलाई नहीं है. तुम्हें एपिथेलियम आइडेंटिफाई करना है, स्ट्रैटिफाइड स्क्वामस नॉन केराटिनाइज्ड एपिथेलियम. तो सबम्यूकोसा में ग्लैंड्स, कितने सारे ग्लैंड्स हैं, और ये हमारे कॉलेज का ही है स्लाइड पिक्चर, सो यू कैन आइडेंटिफाई देम रियली गुड. एंड द नीचे वाला लेयर इज मस्कुलरिस म्यूकोसा. ओके, स्लाइड पिक्चर तो तुमने देख लिया, एंड ये थोड़ा सा हाई पावर वाला व्यू है. सो ये वाला पार्ट रह गया एपिथेलियम वाला, एंड यहाँ पे ग्लैंड्स इतने ज़्यादा प्रेजेंट नहीं है. सो दिस इज द ग्लैंड्स, एंड लिम्फोइड एग्रीगेट्स में भी प्रेजेंट, में नोट भी प्रेजेंट, इतना कुछ ज़रूरी नहीं है, बट तुम्हें सिर्फ सबम्यूकोसा में ग्लैंड देख के आइडेंटिफाई करना है. एंड दिस इज द डायग्राम दैट यू हैव टू डू इन योर एग्जाम्स एंड इन योर मैनुअल. सो इसोफेगस इज डन, एंड तुम्हें इसोफेगस से ड्यूडेनम कैसे डिफरेंशिएट करना है वो भी मैंने बता दिया. वहाँ पे सबम्यूकोसा में ग्लैंड होगा, यहाँ पे भी सबम्यूकोसा में ग्लैंड होगा, बट वहाँ पे विलाई होगा एंड इसोफेगस में कोई विलाई नहीं होगा. ओके, so the next slide we are going to discuss about is stomach. Stomach has 4 parts: fundus, body, cardia and pylorus, but here we are concerned with only 2 parts, that is fundus and pyloric. We are going to study the slides of these 2 parts only. So let's start with the fundus part of the stomach. What are the identification features? So presence of 4 layers, that is mucosa, submucosa, muscularis layer and the serosa, not the adventitia. Adventitia is present only in the esophagus. And the shallow gastric pits occupying superficial 1/4 of the mucosa. This is the most characteristic feature of the fundus part of the stomach. And presence of gastric glands in the mucosa, and gastric glands give it a beaded appearance. There is so much of gastric gland that give it a beaded appearance. So the main identifying feature is the presence of gastric glands that are shallow. Okay, so we are going first, let's see the microscopy. So these are the shallow gastric pits that are present. You can see these are the shallow gastric pits that are occupying 1/4 or less of the mucosa, and these are the gastric glands that are present in the mucosa below the gastric pit, that is giving it a beaded appearance. Below that there is muscularis layer. Okay, and this is also the same picture, but here you cannot see the gastric glands that much of clearly, but you can see the gastric pits, shallow gastric pit are seen, and the aggregate of lymphoid follicles may be seen somewhere, but it is not that of importance. And this is the diffuse atlas picture that you have to draw in your exam. And so this is the fundus part of the stomach. Now let's come to the pyloric part of the stomach. The only difference is the gastric glands are the more deep in the pyloric part than in the fundus part. The deep gastric glands occupying 2/3 of the mucosa is present in the pyloric part. As you can see here, these are the gastric pits. They are present in the 2/3 of the mucosa, but in the fundus part it is only occupying the 1/4 of the mucosa, and the gastric glands are present below the gastric pits. And this is the submucosa, and below the submucosa this is the muscularis layer. Okay, and this is also another picture. These are the gastric pits that are present, and below the gastric pits these are the gastric glands present, and this is the submucosa, and this is the muscularis layer present. So this is the stomach, pyloric part of the stomach, and this is the picture you have to draw in your manuals. So stomach, fundus part and pyloric part is complete. The only differentiating feature is the shallow gastric pit in the fundus part, and the deep gastric glands occupying 2/3 of the mucosa in the pyloric part. Now let's come to the small intestine. Small intestine has three parts: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. And we are starting with duodenum first. Duodenum has 4 layers of GIT, that is same for everywhere. Presence of broad villi lined by simple columnar epithelium with microvilli and goblet cells are present in the duodenum. Presence of glands in the submucosa, that is known as the Brunner's gland. This is the most characteristic feature of duodenum. So it can be a spotter also. And लेट्स कम टू द माइक्रोस्कोपी. आइडेंटिफिकेशन फीचर बस इतना ही है, और ये मोस्टली स्पॉटर में ही आता है. सो यू कैन सी हियर दीज आर द villi and these are the glands that are present in the submucosa. You can see very characteristic picture. तुम्हें ऐसा कोई स्लाइड दूसरा नहीं मिलेगा. So these are the glands present in the submucosa. You can see. Okay, these are the glands present in the submucosa and the muscularis layer. And you can also see here these are the villi and microvilli present, and these are the glands in the submucosa, and this is the muscularis layer. Here the goblet cell, or you can also see the goblet cell. The empty spaces that are seen in the villi are the goblet cells. We already discussed this in the general histology chapter, that goblet cells do not take up the H stain, so these are colorless. So these empty spaces seen in the villi are the goblet cells. But the most characteristic feature is the presence of Brunner's gland in the submucosa, that you can see. This can be a spotter also. So this is the picture that you have to draw in your manuals. Okay, duodenum is finished. Now let's come to the jejunum. Jejunum has presence of numerous tall slender villi lined by simple columnar epithelium and goblet cell. This is same for the both, but the only differentiating feature is the submucosal glands. Jejunum has no Brunner's gland in the submucosa. So अगर दो स्लाइड सिमिलर ही है, बस ग्लैंड में डिफरेंस है. जिसमें ग्लैंड है वो ड्यूडेनम है, जिसमें ग्लैंड नहीं है वो जेजुनम है. ओके, इतना कुछ एग्जाम इंपॉर्टेंट स्लाइड नहीं है जेजुनम. यू हैव टू फोकस ओनली ऑन द ड्यूडेनम एंड द इलियम. So ileum has short, small, fewer villi lined by simple columnar villi and numerous goblet cells. Presence of aggregation of lymphatic nodules, that is known as the Peyer's patches. This is the identification feature of the ileum, that you will be finding the Peyer's patches in the ileum. So coming to the microscopy, you can see beautifully the Peyer's patches present. These are the lymphoid aggregates that are present in the ileum, and villi and muscularis layer is same for both jejunum, ileum and duodenum also. Okay, so you can see here also these are the lymphoid aggregates that are present, and these are the villi part. So duodenum, jejunum and ileum is done. The only two important slide are duodenum and ileum. Duodenum has submucosal glands, that is the Brunner's gland, and ileum has the Peyer's patches, that is the lymphoid aggregates. These are the two important exam slides. Jejunum is not that much important. Okay, now let's come to the large intestine. We are taking only the slides of colon and It is also made up of 4 layers. Absence of villi lined by simple columnar epithelium with numerous goblet cells. Dispersed lymphatic follicles may be present. Presence of Taenia coli and appendices epiploicae. This is the most identifying feature of the large intestine, that is the presence of Taenia coli and appendices epiploicae. This is not that much important exam slide. We are just doing it for the sake of completion. So this is the microscopy picture. You can see these are the glands present, and this is the submucosa, and this is the muscularis mucosa present. Okay, and this is also the similar picture, but here the Taenia coli was not seen. Here this is the Taenia coli present, and these are the villi are absent, but these are the glands present, and this is the submucosa, this is the muscularis mucosa, and this is the Taenia coli. Okay, this is the most characteristic feature of large intestine, that is the presence of Taenia coli, and this is the picture you have to draw. And so large intestine is done. Now let's move to the last slide of digestive system, that is the appendix. Appendix also same as previous slides, that is made up of 4 layers. Absence of villi lined by simple columnar epithelium with numerous goblet cells. Submucosa is packed with lymphatic follicles, and absence of Taenia coli and appendices epiploicae. देखो बाकी सारे फीचर्स तो लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन के साथ सिमिलर थे. द ओनली फीचर दैट इज डिफरेंट इज सब म्यूकोसा पैक्ड विथ लिम्फेटिक फॉलिकल्स. बाकी टेनिया कोलाई नहीं होगा, एपेंडिसेस एपिप्लोइकी नहीं होगा. ठीक है. सो दिस इज द ऑर्गन दैट यू विल फाइंड अ ल्यूमेन. देयर आर ओनली वेरी few slides that you will find lumen in. One of them is appendix, others are like ureter हो गया या फिर urinary bladder हो गया. तो ऐसा कुछ स्लाइड्स में तुम्हें ल्यूमेन मिलेगा, उसमें से एक है अपेंडिक्स. वेरी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक स्लाइड. यू विल इजीली आइडेंटिफाई द स्लाइड बाय द प्रेजेंस ऑफ लिम्फेटिक फॉलिकल, बिकॉज ये ऐसा राउंड है और लिम्फोइड फॉलिकल भी पूरा राउंड सर्कल में होगा चारों तरफ, तो तुम आसानी से आइडेंटिफाई कर लोगे उसे. ओके, सो दिस इज द स्लाइड ऑफ अपेंडिक्स. अपेंडिक्स का स्लाइड आ सकता है स्पॉटिंग में भी, एंड इट कैन बी ए शॉर्ट नोट ऑल्सो इफ अपेंडिक्स आया शॉर्ट नोट एनाटॉमी में. ओके, सो ऑल द स्लाइड्स ऑफ डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम आर कंप्लीट. आई होप तुम्हें समझ में आया होगा कि किस स्लाइड को किससे कैसे डिफरेंस करना है, कैसे इसोफेगस और ड्यूडेनम में डिफरेंशिएट करना है, कैसे ड्यूडेनम जेजुनम एंड इलियम में डिफरेंशिएट करना है, कैसे अपेंडिक्स एंड लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन में डिफरेंशिएट करना है. Okay, so this is all from my side for today's video. We will be coming with systemic histology के other chapters soon. So see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and I hope this will help you in your journey of histology. Thank you so much.